14th meeting of the GST Council. I have already briefed you yesterday with regard to the progress we made on the GST in relation to the goods. Today the principal item was the GST in relation to the services. Over the last few weeks, our supporting officials had been meeting on several occasions, and all their recommendations came up before the council, and there was a long debate in which states and representatives of states, ministers also had their concerns. And finally, the GST in relation to the service sector was completely adopted in today's meeting. Even in the services sector, depending on the nature of service, and for special reasons, there are various categorizations which have been made. There were a set of services which were exempted at present. Most of them have been grandfathered, and those exemptions will continue. Besides the exempted category, of which one of the principal items will be that healthcare and education as a class will continue to be exempted. All other services have been fitted into 4 different rates. The 4 different rates are 5%, 12%, the standard rate of 18%, and the luxury rate of 28%. %, mostly comprises of transport services. There are some transport services like services in the railways in the lowest categories which are exempted. Goods transport, road transport, air transport, and air-conditioned railway transport, these have been kept in 5% category, a lower category, because their main input is petroleum products. And since petroleum is outside the GST, those paying service tax will not be able to take the benefit of input credit, so they have been given the lowest rate. The other services have been split up into 12% and 18%. And of course, there are a few services which will fall into the 28% category. There are just a few subjects of common interest which I may point out. Restaurants, those with a turnover of 50 lakhs or below, can go in for a composition at 5%. The service tax on non-air conditioned restaurants will be 12%. On air conditioned and those with liquor licenses will be 18%, the standard rate. And those which are located in 5-star hotels will have the same service tax as is applicable to the 5-star hotels itself. Similarly, hotels and lodges, those with a tariff of below 1,000 rupees are exempted. From 1,000 rupees to 2,500, it will be 12%. 2,500 to 5,000 will be 18%. And the luxury hotels, the 5-star hotels, above that, will be 28%. Today, if you look at the luxury tax and the service tax payable on them, these have been factored in while fixing these rates. Works contracts currently were, the central tax was 6% and the state taxes range from 1% to 5%, 1 or 5. But no input credit was available. And most of the inputs, cement, steel, are taxed at 28% category. So they would pay taxes on the, embedded taxes on the inputs and then pay this 6 plus 1 or 6 plus 5%. Now a uniform rate of GST will be 12%, but with all kinds of input credits. So what is paid into the inputs, particularly cement, steel and other inputs, the entire credit will be available. So effectively, though the rate is 12%, the level of taxation with the input credit will even come down below the present level itself. The list of all the services will be put up on the website. They'll be available to you. And most of the work relating to the rollout has been completed. Only a few things remain. That is in the goods category, those 6 categories which had still to be decided. We need a little more time for discussions amongst in the council. The residuary rules will be put up for public comments and they need to be approved. And we will also be looking at a presentation of the state of preparedness of the GSTN. So we have fixed the 15th meeting at New Delhi on 3rd of June. And hopefully these decisions will be able to take on the 3rd June meeting itself. That's all I had to say. If there are any clarifications and any specifics, Dr. Adia may also.
Sir, on financial services and telecom, if you could take us through...
They'll all come in the standard rate. The residuary rate is the standard rate.
Which are the services that will come in 28%? Which are the services that will fall in 28% slab besides the 5-star hotels?
There are actually 5 categories. One, of course, I've said is the hotel related, gambling related, race club, betting, and cinema, because entertainment tax has been merged with the service tax. So cinema halls today have been charging service tax. Which one? For the cinema sector, plus the entertainment tax, which varies from state to state. In some states it is 45% and 100%. Also, now that will get merged into the GST. So current rate today is actually much higher if you total the entertainment tax and the service tax.
So betting will be taxed, which means now, I mean, are we recognizing betting?
No. It's a betting tax in the race club.
All cinema tickets will.
देखिए आज भी सर्विस टैक्स लगता है और एंटरटेनमेंट टैक्स लगता है 20-25% से लेकर 100% तक, तो सबको मिलाकर कैप कर दिया गया 28 पे।
सर गोल्ड एंड प्रेशियस मेटल से भी कोई डिसीजन हुआ है सर?
तो मैंने बताया ना जो 6 चीजें हैं वो 3 जून को।
So will the tax incidence on services with a tax at 18%, will that now go up under GST?
You see, if you take the weighted average, then you will have to weigh the large number of exemptions, the 5%, the 12%, the 18%, and the 28%. So if you take the weighted average, we'll eventually take a formulation. So the weighted average will be significantly below that. Plus, keep one fact in mind, that now they will also start getting the input credit of the goods. So if you are paying 12% or 18%, जो goods का आपका input credit है उसमें से deduct होगा, तो actual incidence will come down. No, certainly not. There is no area where it gets increased. तो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट मिलेगा ना उनको भी,
लेकिन कस्टमर के लिए तो कोई फायदा नहीं है ना सर?
नहीं, तो जब दे आर नॉट सपोज टू, अगर इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट डाल के वो 14 या 15 पे आ जाता है या कम आ जाता है।
नहीं, मेरा सवाल सर ये कि कस्टमर 18% पे चार्ज करे।
देखिए जितना टैक्स का उसको बेनिफिट मिलेगा, तो एंटी प्रॉफिटियरिंग क्लॉज किसके लिए है? कस्टमर के लिए ही है। तो यही तो उद्देश्य था कि अगर कोई 18 देता है तो पहले 18 देता था बिना इनपुट क्रेडिट के, अब उसको इनपुट क्रेडिट मिलेगा। जैसा मैंने वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में बताया, पहले 7% या 11% तक देते थे, अब 12 देंगे, लेकिन सीमेंट और स्टील और इन सब का जो 28% टैक्स दिया हुआ है उसका इनपुट क्रेडिट मिलेगा। तो एक्चुअल इंसिडेंस ऑन कस्टमर विल गो डाउन। I can't hear.
So you mentioned about the ITC mechanism so that consumers do get the benefit of lower, tax incidence. But the new mechanism, as in how GST rolls out, will take time to settle down. So in the meanwhile, how do we ensure that this benefit is actually passed on, sir?
Well, the dealers will have to ensure. They can't charge the customer tax more than what they are paying. The law has provisions to take care of that.
जेटली जी,
आप जब मैं श्रीनगर से हूँ, जम्मू कश्मीर की विजिट करता हूँ, सर श्रीनगर में आज जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एसोसिएशन है उन्होंने आज प्रदर्शन भी किया और जीएसटी का उन्हें विरोध भी किया। क्या इस जीएसटी में जम्मू कश्मीर रिलेटेड कुछ स्पेशल प्रावधान होंगे ताकि यहाँ की जनता, यहाँ के सब्सिडी जो यहाँ की क्या वो कंटिन्यू रहेगी या उससे वाइव ऑफ किया जाएगा?
देखिए, जीएसटी का सब्सिडी से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है। जम्मू कश्मीर की असेंबली को पूरा अधिकार है जीएसटी के बारे में अपना निर्णय ले, और जो लोग चाहते हैं कि यहां लागू न हो, उनकी नासमझी का ये असर होगा कि यहां के कंज्यूमर्स को डबल टैक्स देना पड़ेगा। पहले इनपुट्स पे देना पड़ेगा और फिर फाइनल प्रोडक्ट पे देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर जीएसटी लागू नहीं होता तो उनको इनपुट क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा। तो जीएसटी ना लागू हो, यहां के आम आवाम के खिलाफ ये आवाज है।
Mr. Jaitley, you went to line of control today. What's the update from there? And also, there have been reported incursions and face-offs in actual line of control in Ladakh from the Chinese army. So, what is the situation there, sir?
Well, I've not checked up the facts because I was in this meeting, but I did visit the line of control. I acted with the officials and the Jawans there. I would compliment the Indian Army for its level of preparedness and enthusiasm. Our soldiers are fully confident that they would not allow any form of infiltration to take place in those areas. And that if there is any effort at any form of ceasefire violation, our soldiers will give an adequate response to this.
Sir, you don't see any scope for any possibility of service inflation in services, sir?
No, overall the impact of GST, as I said, we've made sure that consumers don't have to pay more. So the net effect of goods and services is not going to be inflationary, because once the system of input credits starts, the actual incidence is going to be positively impacted by that.
Sir.
To broaden the base, are we trimming down exemptions and the negative list as well?
You see, we are grandfathering most of the existing exemptions, because those exemptions relate to areas where we would not like any adverse impact of taxation.
Mr. Jaitley, you talked about, infiltration. I'm here, sir. I'm here. You talked about infiltration, and have you made a distinction between militants who cross from the other side, essentially who are Pakistani militants, and those who are home-bred militants? Is there any distinction when you're saying that you want to go hard against militancy?
Well, it's very clear that terrorism and militancy is aimed both against the Indian state, its sovereignty, and also against the people of Jammu and Kashmir. The effect of their actions is that besides security personnel, it's the local citizens who are losing their life. And therefore, those who've taken on to violence of this magnitude will certainly be accountable for their actions.
So adding on to that question, because in fact, as you say, that there are those who are spreading unrest in the valley. Today only, India Today, one of our teams has been attacked when we actually went to question one of the separatist leader for the sting operation that we have done. And the response from the central government on your level of engagement with the state government, you've had meetings with Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister as well on this.
Well, I think what was known already in informed circles has only been proved by a report. So it was known that they were being funded from across the border. They were funded to create unrest. They were funded to burn schools. They were funded to kill people and destroy public property. So their actions were a conspiracy against not only, as I said, the Indian state, but also the average resident of Kashmir Valley. So this was all being talked about. And what your report has done is to almost bring out a confessional statement of the concerned players accepting it. And I'm sure the concerned agencies of the government will take whatever action is needed in this matter.
So, quick follow-up question on that, sir. Yesterday, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister has also spoken to us. She said that there are separatists who are being funded and spreading terror in the valley, and there would be a rethink on engagement with them. So, is it now time to withdraw that line between a good separatist or bad separatist?
You see, I've told some of your colleagues today, and I don't mind repeating it. With an average citizen, irrespective of his political views, we'd like him to be on the Indian side in this debate. But as far as those who are killing people, we can't extend the same facility to them. They'll have to be treated as a serious insurgency problem and have to be dealt with accordingly.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/ETNow.